Trump has got to go.
Hands off our democracy, hands off women's health care, hands off, to be honest, there's too many things to list.
Our leaders need to stand up to Trump and get Elon Musk out of our government.
I'm really afraid for the future of our country, and the only way to make that known is by standing together.
Growing protests and pushback. We're seeing a lot more than is typically seen in an administration's first 100 days. Many mobilizing on May Day, which is a protest for workers' rights. The stakes are high, and another sign the fight against Trump is gaining momentum. As the New York Times puts it, one Democrat says the party must play hardball and do its own disruption of norms and institutions, given what they face against Trump, as he openly says he wants to overthrow the United States Constitution and rule past 2029. We're joined now by Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Welcome.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Good to have you here in person.
Yeah.
Welcome to the beat. We've seen you out there pushing harder than some Democrats. What do you see in this mobilization right now? And does the elite or leadership wing of your party in Washington get it yet?
Listen, I got to say thank you to the people, right? Because this is a grassroots movement, and the people are saying we are tired. And, whether or not we get it, I think that our solutions look a little different, right? Like, there are those within the party that are saying things like, well, we did not give them the middle class agenda. We somehow left the middle class. But I'm like, we never left the middle class, right? We know that this administration, the previous administration, was trying to help out those that were struggling under the weight of student loan debt and saying if we can help them out, then this means that they can go and create generational wealth and go buy homes. Like, they had real solutions. The child tax credit, where you were getting up to $300 per child to help you out because child care is high, and all those things. When we look at some of the legislation that was thousands of pages long, such as the CHIPS and Science Act, states like Ohio were able to get a chips manufacturing facility that Samsung was bringing in, which meant jobs, which meant manufacturing, and so many other states were able to benefit. But did we communicate it?
Yeah.
Not really. Did people really understand what was happening? Not per se, right? And so, everybody has different solutions. So some people want to dig in and say, let's get to the policy, right? But what good is policy if the people don't understand or know that that is what you are going to enact? Or when it comes down to it, we are such a big tent party that we have certain people that say, well, never mind, I'm not going to push hard for those reforms, say by the time we get to the Senate and we have to deal with the filibuster.
Kamala Harris spoke out. She's been laying pretty low, but she spoke out about some of this tension within the Democratic Party of what you do, and named some names, including yours. Let's take a look.
And I will tell you, the courage of all these Americans inspires me to lift up voices and advance freedom and justice, including congressional leaders like Cory Booker, Chris Van Hollen, Chris Murphy, Jasmine Crockett, all who, in different ways, have been speaking with moral clarity about this moment.
One difference seems to be whether we're after an election where Democrats said democracy itself is on the line and we're facing an autocrat, then do you just go back to saying, well, never mind, we wrote a letter, we'll hold a hearing and be done with it. Van Hollen, of course, traveled on that mission. Booker, we saw. People have said that you seem to be taking it up a notch.
Yeah.
Are you guys still, though, in a minority within your party?
I mean, I would say so. I do believe that. I think that everyone is trying to be very responsive to their district, and I can't speak for any other district. I can tell you that my district wants me to speak out and be loud and be proud at all times. But you know what? We've got lots of great opportunities, and so I'm looking forward to some of the things that we're going to do on oversight as we continue to push back against this administration. Now that we know that they are doing things such as, snatching people off the streets and throwing them down in what I would consider to be concentration camps or prisons. And these are people that haven't been convicted of anything. And it's wrong. Listen, we have oversight over them. If we are in a contract with El Salvador, then it is us that have to decide as to whether or not they are violating human rights. And so we have to be given an opportunity to inspect. So even if James Comer says, no, Democrats, you can't go down there, well, we are elected members of the Oversight Committee. So we should be requiring that they turn over reports to us. Same thing with the FDA, is they're going out and they're firing people, and we don't know what its impact is going to be as it relates to our food supply, and they don't want to tell us about it, whether or not our food is going to be safe. Then guess what? We need to make sure that we require that they turn those documents over to us. And if they don't, guess what? We need to show up at their doors, and we need to conduct a field hearing right there at FDA. Same thing as it relates to the planes that are falling out of the sky.
Right.
We need some real transparency, and we need some honesty, and we need to make sure that the American people are just as enraged as we all should be.
Right.
Because this administration is truly trying to kill us, it feels like.
All right, we got you on that. There's also the thing in life and politics where sometimes things just work until they don't.
Yeah.
And so Donald Trump has made all kinds of claims, and he improved his vote total in November. So you have to look at how that worked. And yet, in this new town hall he did with Bill O'Reilly, you saw some of the bravado sort of fail in person. That's why town halls, whatever you think of them, like, you still have people there.
Yes.
They might be partisan, but you still get some reactions. Take a look at this moment.
Lee says, what's the biggest mistake you think you've made in the first 100 days?
That's the toughest question I can have, because I don't really believe I've made
You
mistakes.
made any mistakes?
We're in a transition period. We're in a transition period.
I think Lee is reassured.
There was sort of an audible laughter, and maybe that's how you go with your own side, but it was still not acceptable. It was not on the level, even in that audience, that he doesn't see that he's made mistakes. The implication being those people think he has made mistakes.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. You know, people tried to talk about the mental acuity of Joe Biden. And as someone who was able to interact with him, I never questioned his mental acuity. But come on now. Come on, like, you are crashing the economy. We are talking about record crashing of the stock market. We are talking about, you just mentioned it, the amount of people that he has fired. We are talking about people complaining and saying there is nothing at the ports.
Right.
We are talking about CEOs coming in and sitting down with you and saying that these shelves are going to be as bare as they were during the pandemic. Like, no, everything is a problem, not to mention Signalgate. And now you've got one of your, appointees stepping down because somebody was going to have to take the blame.
Right.
Now, I think it's the guy that needs, it's the guy that says he wants to have his makeup room that needs to go somewhere, because at least Mike Walls has some kind of experience within government, unlike Pete Hegseth. But honestly, get rid of the entire cabinet. We need to start over, because everything is messed up, from their HHS secretary. I know you're probably trying to move on to something else, but I'm just saying, I could go on for
I got
days.
you. We have to fit in a break, but start over. 100 days, start over. We got that message, Congresswoman.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.